And we are live on another edition of All In on High School Sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Shoulder feeling better?
It's feeling a lot better. Yes. Yeah.
All
Not
right.
100%.
Like to hear it.
But
Like
getting
to
there,
hear it.
Very close. Thank you.
In our real sports world talk.
What's that mean? Real
Well,
sports?
like, you know, we always do a quick,
sports?
professional
What's that
college.
real?
Rough
'Cause other
rough
sports are
weekend for
real.
Mr. Valenti. Rough weekend. My Broncos, Auburn, but Javonte Williams, prayers up. But the New York Knicks are back tonight. So, fired up for that DVR now. Watch that later. And otherwise, little tricky weather. Again, thoughts and prayers with everybody in Florida. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we said that last week. We might not have. But what do we got going on?
Well, tonight we're going to welcome two guests. We are going to have Coach David Cord from the Northern Highlands Football Program is going to join us, and he'll be followed by Coach James Magazine from the Paterson Eastside Football Program. So we're excited to have both of those coaches join us this evening. Of course, we'll do our Week 6 picks. We'll give the rankings, and then we will have our all-in or not all-in segment.
Mr. Beelan, there he is. I'm glad I finally got a day off to watch the best duo in the game.
Mr. Beelan, we've missed you.
Yes, we have definitely missed Mr. Beelan.
Well.
There's Mr. Kirkpatrick. Evening all. Welcome to another episode of the great high school show, the greatest high school show on earth. And there's Dr. John. Coach Cord for Windows 95 background. He's really a defensive coach, so we'll,
Is he referring to his time at Ridgewood? Is that why?
Yeah. Well, let's give a major shout out to Ramsey for last week.
Yeah.
Again, Coach Baera for setting it up. The AD over there, everybody over there was just awesome. And you could talk about it a little bit too.
No, again, we just wanted to thank them for making, it's so easy for us, quite honestly. Coach Bear for putting us in touch with everyone, the AD for being so accommodating. Again, everybody there was expecting us. We couldn't have worked with nicer people. The cheerleaders and their coach, the people who were working security, the people at the ticket booth. I mean, the parking. I mean, they really did. They made it so easy for us, and it was really fun, to be in that atmosphere. Like you said, it was going to be like a playoff atmosphere, and it really was. It did not. They had their youth there. It was really fun. It was good to see. So they did a great job. I know their outcome for them wasn't what they wanted on Friday, but thank you to them for making it so easy for us and enjoyable.
Coach Brez checking in. Good evening, everyone. And
Hello,
Coach Siciliano saying yo, hello.
Coach Sis, we missed you. How are you?
So again, unbelievable there. Listen, what a great game too. I mean, two phenomenal teams. Westwood just unbelievable. Ramsey will get into missing some players.
I did not be remiss to thank Coach Hart.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So, yes, thank you. I know we were at Ramsey, so I was thinking in terms of logistics and then making it so easy. But, Coach Hart joined us during the week. Everybody taking time out of their busy schedules, intense schedules for preparation for game day. So we really appreciate them helping us get, a live pregame. It's been fun. It's been a nice additive. I hope people are enjoying it.
And talking about that, real quick, if you want to give the breaking news, because
Sure.
we're staying home Friday. We're staying home.
Well, we will be live from Clifton on Friday. It will have PCTI travels to Clifton. Should be another great game. So, Coach Sinkyu cleared it with his AD. We've gotten in touch with Coach Demarest at PCTI. So we'll be doing our homework this week to get that ready for Friday. So looking forward to that. It was a little stressful getting to Ramsey. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we were a little worried, but we got it done. Dr. John saying, but they didn't help you with technology at Ramsey. You guys had that handled. #, no interns needed. That's not true, Dr. John. Dr. John, we got to reach out. We got to get some Irvington interns for us.
Absolutely,
Let's do it.
Well, it's funny you say that, Dr. John, because even going into this week, there's no, right, we wouldn't have internet at Clifton. We said, no problem. We travel with our own.
That's it. Kenny saying, Kurt, bring the adoption papers for my boys at PCTI.
Get it to sign. We can make it official. We can make it official for you, Kenny. But we have our first guest ready to come. Should we let Coach Cord
Yes, absolutely.
In? Right,
let's set him up.
On time here. Let's get Coach in and situated. So, or as he's connecting here, we'll make sure he can hear us. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You can hear us okay?
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. Please allow me to officially introduce you to our audience. We are joined by Coach David Cord, first-year head coach at Northern Highlands. His team is off to a 3-2 start this season, competing in the Liberty Red Division of the Super Football Conference. They are fresh off of a 29-26 victory over North Jersey powerhouse Ramapo, and Coach Cord has previously won state championships as an assistant at Ridgewood and most recently as the interim coach at Ridgewood in 2019. So, Coach, congratulations on your past successes, and again, thank you for coming and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Coach Cord, thank you. Long time no see. Good to see you again. Hope everything is good. Hope everything is good. And again, congratulations on an awesome win Friday night at Ramapo. So my first, I guess, two-part question. Why Northern Highlands for you? And second part, how much, like Jen mentioned, of taking over for Coach Johnson that year and winning that sectional championship, how much did that get you ready to be the head coach now?
Yeah, I mean, so first, why Northern Highlands? So I was, that 2019 we won the regional championship. When I took over for Chuck, I stayed there for my 2020 season, knowing that if he would, if as the head coach, knowing that if he was healthy, he was going to come back in 2021. I was very selective on where I applied. I wanted to find a home. I didn't want to bounce around. I was looking for somewhere I felt comfortable, somewhere I knew I would be supported, and also I wanted the opportunity to teach in the building. I think especially in a bigger program, I think that's really important. To see the kids day in and day out, not only in season, but really most importantly in the off season. I want to be a part of a community, somewhere I can go watch their basketball games and baseball games when they compete in the off season. And I really felt that I had that chance at Northern Highlands, and it's certainly been a wonderful supporting place and a great football community. Halfway into our first year here, the second part of your question, Ridgewood. So I took over for Chuck week 5. We were 5-0. We were ranked in the state pretty high on the public side of it. We had 3 weeks left in the season. We went 1-2. So that's about, we go 5-0. We're hitting on all cylinders. Chuck gets sick, and we go 1-2, and that certainly tested, the mental side of it for me. Just to see the kids rally, to see the kids continue to buy in and day out, cut to weather that storm, really get it turned around and go on a pretty magical playoff run, beating Bayonne, then Westfield in a crazy game. And Westfield's a powerhouse from Central Jersey that not many people from North Jersey know. I think they had a 40-game winning streak back in 2016-17, and then beating PCT in the sectional, and then beating just a extremely talented Union team at MetLife was pretty special. Certainly I knew if I could, take over a program, one as successful and one with as high expectations as Ridgewood overnight, that would hold up pretty well going forward.
Awesome. I just want to get a little breaking news because Coach Siciliano, when it's breaking news, Aaron Judge has hit home run number 62.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
when somebody, Coach Cord, when somebody says, "Where were you when he hit 62?" You were on the All In podcast. There you go.
I hear you.
We made it so memorable for
That's
you.
That's it.
Coach, one of the reasons Kurt and I started this podcast was we like to give the notoriety to as many programs and student athletes as possible. Would you take a few moments and highlight some of your players on your squad that have contributed this season?
Yeah, it's been a real group effort. I'll tell you, anytime you are part of a regime change, I think it is toughest on the seniors. They've been in one way for 3 years. They've had a ton of success under Coach Russo. And now they got to learn new offense and the defense. Overnight. So I definitely give some recognition to our seniors. Great senior leadership at Zach Kostaka. He plays middle linebacker. Actually, just broke the school record for tackles. He was the leading tackler returning from last year at 160 tackles in his junior season. He's doing a hell of a job controlling our defense from the mental side of things. and flying around making plays. Also, seniors and fellow captain Zach Madison had 2 big touchdown catches in our win against Ramapo. Senior Charlie Sfarago, he's played both sides of the ball at strong safety and halfback for us. Been banged up for the most part of the beginning of the season, but it was good to see him run around pretty healthy on Friday night for the first time, I think, pretty much all season. Chase Fishman plays tackle for us. John Lavinio plays guard and nose for us. Jack and Sarah having a great season. I think he's up to 8 or 9 tackles on the year already. Great edge kid, defensive end. So there's just the list can go on. Lesser known kids that are coming into their own. Roman Dario, small, shorter, 5'8", tough as nails, middle linebacker. Basically kept us in the game in Winslow. Had a couple sacks and a big forced fumble with just a few minutes to go to get us the ball back and set up our winning drive. So really the list goes on, but it starts and ends with the senior class. I think that's the mark of any good program, and especially tough on this program as they change coaches, for their final season.
Coach, you guys have a really tough schedule. You guys had a close loss to Ridgewood, which Jen and I actually, we watched that. It was a live stream. It was a great game. You guys lost by 1. But my question is, and then obviously you guys now have this huge win against State Power Ramapo Friday night. Are you guys clicking at the right time to make a real nice playoff push?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, listen, our goal every week is very, very simple: get better and keep working. I think, like any relationship, it takes time to develop trust, and it takes time to develop chemistry. It's no different in a friendship, or coaching a football team and them getting to know a new staff. So I'm hoping that this chemistry is starting to come together. I certainly see a difference in practice. Kids are really understanding our schemes on both sides of the ball, and we're getting a little bit deeper into things and able to open it up a little bit. So certainly hopeful. Listen, our goal is to compete in and out in every week, and you touch upon it on a schedule like this. You hope that tough games and playing good opponents week in and week out is going to prepare you for a playoff run.
Coach, you take over a program that's rich in football tradition, but also at a school that's very competitive with athletics. So what are your long-term goals for the program?
Yeah, listen, I came from a place where, Ridgewood, where in 4 decades they haven't had a losing season, right? And there's a lot. I learned a ton about how to build a program and a consistent program. So that's what I'm trying to bring. Obviously, the last 5 years they have had an unbelievable run. The best run in school history by a million, and now it's time to do that year in, year out. And now it's time to compete, not just for a few years, but to do it every single season. And like I said before, my goal was really to find a home, and I hope I'm doing this at Northern Highlands for a long time and being successful at it.
Coach, I have to say, I coached at Montville for 15 years, and I swear every field hockey and lacrosse, every state tournament, I feel like we matched up against Northern Highlands at some point down the road. It's just hysterical because I would get text messages from other coaches looking at the bracket, and they'd be like, "You drew Northern Highlands again?" So again, very competitive athletics. So
this is my last one for you, Coach, is. And if I didn't ask this, my phone would be probably blowing up in a half hour from a certain coach at Northern Highlands. But rumor is your freshman team is pretty good. So, I guess.
I think I can guess which coach that is.
Yeah, I guess you can guess what coach it is. Good friend of mine, great football coached for him many years. But my question on the serious part, and again, I know you guys beat a undefeated Ramapo freshman team on Saturday, but how important is this freshman class and your youth program, especially your 7th graders, your 8th graders? How important are they going to be to your program going forward in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I mean, they're the future, right? It's simply that. And again, that's something I learned at Ridgewood and from Chuck. Pretty cool thing. Obviously, Ridgewood is running the wing T there forever, but those kids run 121 buck sweep from 5 years old to 18 years old, and that is definitely a part of their success. So First, I'll start with the freshman class. What a group. We got 32 freshmen that are 100% dedicated to football, super talented, but even harder workers. So it was really good to see that pay off. They've been working hard. They've been looking forward to Rampo for a week or two. They knew this game was coming, and they got a great group there. So that's exciting to see. And the junior football, I've tried, that they were one of my first phone calls back in January when I got the job, was to Jeff Fiore, the junior football president, was to try to get them on board with me. So I've had, countless, 20, 25 meetings with junior football coaches, and they've been nothing short of great. They want to run our offense. They want to call it our names. They're picking my brain, and I try to be as open door to them and a resource to a good resource to them as much as I possibly can be. Because again, they're the future, and I want to give them a reason to come to Northern Highlands and don't look to the parochials. So I want to establish that relationship, and I also want to see them be successful. The more successful our junior football program is, the more interest they're going to get, the more bodies we're going to get there, and the better our football team in the long run is going to be.
Jay, I just want to add one thing because Coach made a great point, and I'm going to use Ridgewood, and I'm also going to use Hasbrook Heights because it's like the same thing that they always said with that. So when somebody says like, well, how important really is it that the junior program, runs the same thing, just like you said, because I know that's what they always say in Heights, like that kid comes in as a freshman and they just say, buck sweep, and those kids aren't like, can you draw it up? They know it from day one. So you've seen it, like you said, 40 years in Ridgewood. I mean, not many people can say to you, well, I don't think it really matters. I mean, it matters, right? I mean,
it matters. It matters. And you know what? I'm lucky, and this community, I would say this Northern Highlands community of Allendale, Upper Saddle River, and Hohokus, they have some really dedicated people down there that want to put the time in. I mean, we met, I think our first meeting with the junior football coaches was probably in March. And then from March to July, we probably met 20, 25 times. And, they would come into our office in the school. They would come in, we'd meet wherever just so they could start to pick up our offense and start to pick up our terminology and try to better themselves. So I thought it was awesome. We ran a junior football camp, had 80 kids running around there. So we're doing everything we can to make that junior football program successful and to give them a reason to come to Highlands.
That's great. Coach, kind of piggybacking off of that, talking about like some of the things you took from Ridgewood, can you talk a little bit about some of your coaching influences?
Yeah, so obviously Chuck Johnson's been there for forever. I applied, I think it was in 2015. Yeah, it was 2015 when I first started at Ridgewood. I applied for a defensive line coaching job. I ended up getting it. I was coaching for a couple of weeks before I took over the defense. And at the time, Coach Mark Arenbrew was a longtime head coach. He was at New Milford, Paramus, Indian Hills. He was calling the defense. And basically, he took me under his wing and taught me the scheme and, wanted me to take over the defense. He's been doing it forever, and he's been calling offense and defense and both sides of the ball, and he wanted to give a young guy a chance. So he was a huge influence. So I coached 7 years for him. We kind of did the defense together while Chuck did the offense. And then I was lucky enough for him to come over to me at Highlands as well. And he's working with the offensive line and the outside linebackers. So it's great to have somebody, he's been a head coach longer than I've been coaching. It's good to have somebody you can trust. And somebody has my best interest, the program's best interest, and most importantly, the kid's best interest at heart at all times. So, Chuck Johnson, Mark Arenbrew have been a huge influence on me.
Nice. All right, our next little segment we like to do, we call it Rapid Fire. So we've got some more just quicker, fast-paced, fun questions to end with.
So Jen and I want to go. We want to get some pizza near Northern Highlands. So whether it's Upper Saddle River, Allendale, give me the best pizza place we can go to.
Wow, best pizza. So I'm going next door. I used to live in Waldwick, which is right next door to Allendale. Natal's is really good.
Okay.
I've only been working there for about a month, so I haven't done all the pizzerias in town.
I will follow up with you again on that one.
All right.
Keeping in the food realm, if you're having, a fast food fix, are you choosing McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, Burger King, or something else?
Wendy's, hands down. Okay. It's not even close.
All right, so you're in Northern Highlands. You're only allowed to have one color, right? So you guys are black, red, white. So if you're going to go with a hoodie, Are you going to be black, white, or red?
Black.
All right. And will that hoodie be Nike, Under Armour, or Adidas?
Under Armour.
All right.
Kenny's chiming in saying Natalie's in Waldwick is excellent. I used to work at Radiology Associates there. All right, my last one. Favorite NFL football team?
Jets.
All right.
Happy guy this week.
I was going to say, usually he has a follow-up question.
Are you all in on Zach Wilson? That's my follow-up.
Listen, I guess I have to be. Who knows? If we have to hit the reset button again, I'm not sure what to do.
And, Coach, my last one is, who do you predict will be the Super Bowl champion this year?
Ooh, good one. I'll go with the Bills. I'd like to see them win one.
All right. Awesome. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and telling us about your program.
No, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
All right, we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Good luck.
All right. Continue, Kurt. Bye.
All right, you too. All right, Coach Cord, Northern Highlands. And like I know, Coach, I remember just, seeing Coach in school and stuff like that, always saying, looking for a head jump, but he doesn't, wants to, get a good program, get the right one. And you know what? He waited and he got a real good one, you know? So
and, they're lucky to have him
absolutely.
as well. It's nice when he explained why Northern Highlands, right? More than just, there were a lot of reasons, but I love how he said he wants to be able to go support his kids in the off season,
other sports and stuff. Yes.
He said it's not just in season, it's out of season.
Yep.
And he didn't mean weightlifting, and that he wanted to see them if they're playing other sports and support them, which is just so nice to hear.
And you know what, you mentioned that, and he makes me think of something, and it's always I think of Bruce Pearl, right, from the Auburn men's basketball coach. Mm-hmm. And he's always tweeting, he's at the football games, and vice versa. Like, I always look at that school, but Bruce Pearl is always someone where he's kind of like that. And you know what, like not only the players, but the students there, like, flock to that. You know, like, they see the love for, he doesn't have to be out there, but he's there, he's going on the road, he just supports that school. And that's something Coach Cord, like you're saying, is doing, and it's awesome for the program.
It is, and the kids, absolutely. Well, our next guest is Coach Magazine from Paterson Eastside, and he is here, so I'm going to admit him. Is that good with you?
Absolutely.
All righty.
Let me get my questions for him.
All right, there is Coach. He's getting connected. We'll just give him a second here. Hey, Coach, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear. You guys hear me?
Yes, perfect. Allow me to introduce you to our audience. We are joined by Coach Magazine of Eastside High School. He's been the Eastside coach since 2019, and his team this season is off to a 3-2 start after a huge win this week. And Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Coach, again, like Jen said, for coming on, and congratulations on an awesome win last week against a lot of people's number one in the public schools, Ridgewood. So great win. Can you just go over a little bit, like, how did you guys get that win? Want to recap that game a little for us?
We play Ridgewood every year in and year out. There's a great week of practice. Our motto is every day of practice, kind of win a day. We feel if we win every day in practice, we have a great shot at winning that game. So the young men locked in. Just a great week, nonstop. Very physical. We're a very physical team. I will say that. Hats off to Ridgewood. Everyone knows they're well coached. There's a great bunch of young men over there, and they did make a last minute push to win that game, but we withstood the last minute drive and came out victorious, which is monumental for our program.
Great. And Coach, can you highlight some of your players that have had an impact for you so far this season?
We'll start with our quarterback, Mr. Cornell Goodwin, two-way player, also plays defensive back for us. He just does it all. Down the stretch, we rely on him. Very athletic, can do it all, throw the ball, run. Seasons, he's a 3-year starter. This is actually second year ever playing quarterback, so he's just an athlete in that quarterback position. We have a transfer in running back, Ramadan Adams, who I think last week has maybe 13 carries for 165 yards. Had a really big day for us as well. And just our defense is kind of done by committee. You have a defensive end who's right now at 3 stars. Now, Reek Clyburn has a couple of Power 5 offers. And then as well, outside linebacker Samar Harrison, I'm pretty sure will get some Division I offers toward the end of the season. So those are really our standout athletes.
Awesome.
Coach, last year we actually watched a game. You guys had a heartbreak loss versus Clifton. I believe it was the sectional final, correct?
Yes, sir.
So, will that game be like? How can that game be any motivational? There be some motivational impact from that loss come playoff time for you guys? Well, I guess just going into this season and especially later on, come down the playoffs for you guys.
Just more so not losing but learning. I think we lost that game as a coaching staff, and that all goes on me. You know, you kind of on an emotional ride. I think you're up 19-0. The kids kind of carried away. Coaches lost focus. We have extremely young staff. 80% of my staff are from Little League programs. It's just a new situation to them. So we pride ourselves in, staying even kill, not getting too up, too down, and just doing what we do every day. And, the football game is 4 quarters. It's never over. Clifton, hats off to Ralph. He does a phenomenal job there as well. We talk day in and day out, just, picking each other's brains. So, you're not going to beat a well-coached team. They're not going to give it to you. They're going to play to the end.
Coach, you took over the Eastside program in 2019, right? Prior to that, the Ghosts had 7 consecutive sub-500 seasons, right? I read somewhere that coaching at Eastside was like a bucket list item for you. So how special is it for you to be the head coach at the same school that you played football at?
It means a lot to me, honestly. I've been on the staff. I became the freshman coach in 2010. One of my dear friends, Dr. Gerald Glisson, who was our athletic director at the time, asked me to come on and coach. They had just lost their head coach right before the start of the season, so I came on. And it's just one of those things in which you feel invested, you fall in love with the young men, and you kind of stick around. We had it was a coaching turnover every 2 years in the program, for good and bad in some aspects. I learned a lot from every coach, and I think every coach that I worked underneath and that I coached, I took a little bit from them, and kind of makes me who I am today. And it's some good and some bad, but I learned from all of them to kind of make who I am today.
That's a great answer. And it kind of leads into my last question is going forward now, like Jen said, you're a couple years in. So obviously, like you said, it's like any job, right? You learn on the job. But going forward, what do you want when somebody talks about the East Side football program? What are your goals going forward for this program? Long-term goals.
Long-term, to be a competitive team on the field. Honestly, I didn't take the job. It's kind of mind-blowing in my interview that I don't care about wins and losses. Where we come from in Paterson is tough here. Our young men don't have a lot to look forward to. Economically, it's a struggle. Sometimes, grades were a big problem that we had here. And I thank God, since I've been here, every senior has graduated, which, I take my hat off to. I really like that. We're starting to get our young men into school. We had 12 seniors last year. 8 of them went on to receive athletic money to play with college football. And that's what I kind of pride myself in, keeping our young men out of trouble, showing them a different way of life, and just being positive,
That's great, Coach. I had a final question for you. When I was in, I'm going to say, junior high, high school, I remember
ago.
I know, a very long time ago. You're a youngin', Coach. You probably weren't even born yet, but thank you, Mr. Valenti.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I remember one of the first rivalry games, I was a basketball player, that my father took me to was the Kennedy Eastside game, and it showed me what high school rivalry was, and I will never forget the intensity of those games. I think it helped make me love the game even more. I wanted to play in a game like that, and I see that you guys still in football have your Thanksgiving game, if I'm not mistaken, the Kennedy Eastside. Yes. I wonder if you could just speak about that rivalry a little bit.
Honestly, I'm going to get a lot of back. I'm not a fan of the rivalry.
Get out of here! Okay.
I'm honestly, it's just been, historically speaking, when we play, it's just been a game of who's been bad. It hasn't had that flair that it's had. We're from Paterson, so there's 2 sides of town: the east side of town and the west side of town, which Kennedy. We lose kids to parochial schools, we lose kids to tech, and then we struggle for the rest of the kids. So everyone knows each other. One of my best friends is actually the assistant head coach at Kennedy, so there isn't really a rivalry. We play each other at the end of the year. We try and help each other out. Our kids get along, and we try and keep it that way for numerous reasons. And one of the big reasons is there's a lot of violence in Paterson. And we just hate to have that negativity. It's just a game at the end of the day. So that week, of course, we can't stand each other, but throughout the season, it's all love. Our kids get along, they hang out together, and we really encourage that.
Well, that's great because that's still like I still feel like it can be that friendly rivalry, like I feel like,
Right.
and it's funny because like I went to West Essex, you want to say like Caldwell is our neighboring town, right? And like you see kids at camps and this, but when you play, it's like, all right, it's our rivalry, but yeah, existing outside of that in a friendly way. So I think that's great, but you can still have that spirit of rivalry.
Yeah. I honestly want the game to be played on Labor Day. I would love to be a week 0, week 1 game.
Oh, that's
so then we have some bragging rights for the entire season.
Yeah, that's cool.
There you go.
All right, the next little segment we like to do is a little rapid fire, we call it. So we're gonna throw some more quick-paced questions at you.
All right, so Coach, Coach, you're obviously you went to Eastside, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here's the deal: we have a panel of 5 that makes weekly picks, and I will proudly say I was the only one that picked Eastside over Ridgewood last week. And I started song. I started by saying, I didn't even say Eastside. I just said, when Jen said, okay, you taking Eastside or Ridgewood? And I just said, fair Eastside. I just started singing, and she was like, okay. So now, since I look pretty smart on the panel, so thank you, Coach, because only one of 5 that picked Eastside, I did a little homework.
Okay.
So I'm going to go first,
Gotcha.
and then you're going to go. So cheer for dear old Eastside High, lead on to victory. You go.
Say, all aboard, Eastside High, all aboard, Eastside High. You.
That's no. That's all I know, Coach. This took me an hour last night, Coach, to do.
Okay.
I had to watch some videos, try to get it down. I didn't do bad, but I was just proud because I said, you know what? No way. I started it last week. I'm gonna sing a little more because you guys, you got me the victory last week.
Coach, I'm impressed. That was good.
That was good.
I had to suffer listening to him sing it for the past
all last night. That's all I kept saying. Then she's like, "You're not gonna do it." I said, "Hell yeah, I'm gonna do it." Damn right. I picked Eastside.
All right, Coach. Do you have any game day superstitions?
Just born and raised in the church. When I came and took the head job in 2019, we make sure that we pray as a team before every game. I was we need that. And a lot of inner city kids kind of fall away from that. So I'm big on prayer, just unity. Of course, we eat as a team prior to the game and the night before every game.
Nice.
So I'm just very superstitious when it comes to that.
All right, talking about eating, we always ask every head coach this question. We come to see a game, Coach. What's your favorite pizza place or best pizza place we can go to?
I'm going to say Tormino's in Paterson. I'll go with Tormino's.
All right, Coach, are you an iPhone or an Android user?
iPhone.
All right.
Kenny Kirkpatrick, our good friend from Maryland, saying, congrats, Kurt. I was wrong. And, Coach, best of luck going forward. I know Paterson very well and wish you and your kids much success in the future.
Thank you.
My last one is, who's your favorite NFL football team?
Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, I got to tell you this. No one's talking trash to you right now. I mean, I'll just ask you, are they the best football team in football?
I wore it on my whole childhood. I wore that, so I'll take it.
Okay.
I can smile now.
That's it.
Yeah. And, Coach, my last one for you is, who do you predict will be the Super Bowl champion this year?
Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, come on. We can't ask a Jet or a Giant fan. No offense to Coach Cord, but I mean, that's real. We're asking now someone a legit chance.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you taking time to join us, and we wish you much success for the rest of the season.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Coach. Congrats on a great season so far.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a blessed evening.
You too.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Okay, Coach Magazine, off of the big win over Ridgewood. And how did I do?
You did
We
well.
both did good,
You
right?
did well, yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to say you next.
I know, that was good.
If I wasn't, no, I wasn't. I said to him, this took me, how seriously, at least half hour for an hour last night. But it's good. I got some guts going on singing that.
That was good. I'm impressed.
Question is, will I sing that tonight?
We'll have to wait and see when the pick segment comes along. So, are you ready for a little all in or not all in?
I am.
All right, I go first on this one, right?
Yes.
So my first all-in, I'm going to preface it with this background information. Other states, like in New Jersey, you can't coach your kids out of season, right?
Yes.
Like, and you have parameters when June hits, of when there's all these different rules. Not every state adheres to those rules, which I became privy to that knowledge by coaching club and realizing like these coaches were coaching their high school players all year long.
Okay.
So are you all in or not all in coaching players year round?
How do I answer this? I'll say this. I'll be honest, I don't have the faith that people are going to, like if they say you can't, I don't have the faith that people are going to stick to like a punishment. So if you're not going to do, because listen, people still do it. Let's be realistic.
Right.
They do it. There's always ways around, and not just football. We're talking any sport.
Yeah, every sport.
Right? We're talking every sport. So you know what? If you're really not going to, penalize somebody, just let them do it, because that's my answer. People are doing it anyway. So if you're not going to get hard and really set a tone, let them do it. So I'm all in on let them do it all year.
Okay. I'm not all in. And I think that I agree with what you're saying, that it's happening anyway, right? But I'm not all in on it because I think it is two reasons. I think that it might deter kids from playing other sports. They might feel additional pressure from their coaches to play certain sports and then wind up giving up other sports. And we're big fans of multi-sport athletes for various reasons. My other reason I'm not all in is I like my players to be coached by other people. I do. Like I would go to camp with my kids and coach. I wanted them to be coached by other people. Like it might, if they don't hear it from me, maybe somebody else gets through to them in a different way. I'm okay with that. Like I know I'm going to coach them well and try, but you know what? Maybe somebody can get through them. Sometimes they need a break from me, and that's okay.
Right. I'm with you. And I would probably answer it the same way. I'm just answering it because
I
just don't believe that there's going to be a punishment to do it. Like when you say, if you're doing it, know, you're not doing this, coaches are, they're not going to do it. So that's how I'm going to answer that. My first one, all in or not all in? Are you all in that any head injury, anything, okay, that kid, no matter, two-part question. Part A, that kid is not going back into a game. I don't care if a trainer, I don't care if a doctor on the sideline, I don't care if his parent, it's okay, he can go back in. And part two, now I just forgot what part two was. Let's just stay with part one.
All right, let's do
any head injury.
Any
My second part is that for any head injury, no team doctor. It has to be like some kind of head specialist has to okay that kid back for, practice the next week, back into playing.
Okay.
The next 2-3 weeks.
I'm going to say this. Head injuries are very serious, obviously, right?
We see it on the NFL. We just saw what's going on.
We've gotten much more strict with the protocols. We've also gotten much better at getting baseline data on kids, but going into the season, right, and having, testing them and giving them enough rest. I take it very seriously. But I don't think that we need to take away the power from the team doctors. I don't think that's the right answer. It's not ever going to be a perfect system because we could take the team doctors out of the situation and a specialist could make a mistake. I don't feel like every kid who gets hit has to be. I don't think we can make an all or nothing, like the black and white. I coached lacrosse. I had kids getting checked in the head all the time. Some are definitely more serious than others. But that's why it's important to have someone there to evaluate them on site. But with that said, there could still be, a kid isn't necessarily, or a player, going to be honest. They're going to want to play.
Right.
So that's hard. That's where it gets difficult, I know it's hard. And as a coach, sometimes you have to, even though that isn't the rule, even though they're telling you they're okay, you have to shut them down.
Kenny's saying no kid I'm going in with a head injury is going in with a head injury without getting checked in an ER and getting an x-ray. Look at Pee Wee Level, Kurt, Elmwood Park. I won't say any kids' names for privacy. It did happen.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
So he makes a great point, like something like that. Does that kid, is that a rule? Because Kenny, that's a great point. That's kind of almost what I'm saying.
I don't know.
Where is that doctor? In all seriousness, that doctor on the sideline, and I respect, he's a doctor, but what has he checked?
Well, here's the thing, right? And I don't know if your school was doing this. I don't know if it was mandatory at the time, but what we started doing in Montville was giving baseline concussion testing. Like, they came in on the computers and when they were fine, took a baseline test. So if that kid did get a concussion, they took the test again and they can compare the results.
Right, but he ain't taking the test, though. I'm saying.
I'm not saying
on the sideline. That's
right,
what I'm saying. It happens in a football game. What are you doing with that kid?
We're also talking about, again, different sports. Like football, the probability of getting a more serious injury in the head is more likely, right? As opposed to lacrosse. And again, it's that cumulative hits as well that, in football, they might have gotten hit in the game 5 times, maybe not directly to the head, but then that 6th hit, the accumulation of it is tough.
Kenny's saying the equipment, I'm not understanding. There seem to be certain things. There are a lot of other head injuries besides concussions.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, you know what? Listen, back when I was coaching, this is even concussion related. It can be anything. I had a player get hit in the nose in lacrosse. She was my best player. It was a close game. I remember saying to the athletic trainer, let me know when she's ready to go back in, because she got checked in the nose. I didn't think anything of it other than all right, let's get her taped up a little bit. Right. She went to the emergency room that night, and the bone, the way it was, if she had gotten hit again, it could have been disastrous. That's on me. But my experience, I didn't really have that experience of I wouldn't know that. And she wanted to go back. So I think, and I cringe, that's a very human admission for me as a coach to give, but I will 100% say that I'm guilty of doing that. Yeah.
So, okay. No, that's
a good question.
Listen, it's
hard.
It's not only it's serious going on every level, and I'm going to be honest, what people saw last Thursday is not good.
Right.
The whole thing with Tua and the Dolphins.
Well, the crazy thing with that is, we witnessed him get up and stagger, right? Okay, fine, we're saying
that was
it's
a
the
week
back.
ago.
And then the second one were with his hand. I mean, you're witnessing it. That's not even that's not questionable. There's something going on. That's not, that's
Something's
not where
wrong.
you're using your judgment. I mean, that's a little bit different.
Right.
All right, my next all in or not all in.
Okay.
You're a head coach.
Yep.
In order to make your varsity team, you have to make a certain mile. I'll use mile time. Your mile time has to be under, I'll use some arbitrary number, under 6.5 minutes. If you don't make that, no matter what all my other criteria are, you can't be on varsity.
And for what sport?
Any sport.
Absolutely not. I'm definitely not all in on that. Because why, let's just use for football. If I'm playing defensive tackle or, like a nose guard, I mean, what do I might be a 360-pound kid that I can't make that run. I mean, that kid's probably going to get D1 offers, potential chance to be in the league. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that means that.
Well, let's
that
not
doesn't
use
mean
football
anything.
Then, because that's a little.
All right, anything. No, I mean.
So let's say boys soccer.
Boys soccer?
I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm just wondering if your answer will change.
Because what if I'm a goalie and I can't do it? I'm going to say no. I don't. I'm not a firm believer in the times, and I'm not. The kid's a football player. The kid's a football player. Don't care what his 40 is. He's a football player. So absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm not all in on it either. I do like to give my kids, summer workouts, preseason workouts for lacrosse. I like to give them a goal, because I do want them to be in shape. Both of those sports require a lot of running, but I can't see myself keeping a kid off varsity because they can't hit a 6:30 mile. I think it's just like in academics. You use multiple criteria, and I feel like that shouldn't keep them off of varsity because they can't hit a mile.
We got a couple comments coming in from Mr. Kirkpatrick. Not at all in. Look at Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, 2 of the slowest athletes in history. Coach Breslin, the criteria should be different for each group. I think it is something that will help with overall health, but not to allow them to make the team or not.
Agree. I totally agree with that, Coach Breslin.
You always agree with Coach Breslin.
Well, he's very sound mind,
of
so
course.
Of course I do.
Of course. All right, my next one. I'm gonna put this into football, but I could also see this in basketball, a lot of sports. But I'm going to talk particularly football because we're in the fall right now. Scattered start times.
Staggered.
Staggered, scattered, same different thing.
Okay.
Staggered. I'll give you want to say
No,
staggered.
you said staggered before. Okay. Yeah.
So whatever it is. My point is, on a Friday night, everybody's at 6:30 or say 7, right? And I'll say, I probably wouldn't have answered this until we had a playoff game when I was at St. Mary's and we were playing it's Caven Point, right? Caven Point in Jersey City, where like St. Peter's was playing, Lincoln was playing, St. Anthony's was playing, and they literally had, a game at 12, game at 2:30. We played like 4:30 on a Saturday.
Right.
So just taking for example, and again, there could be people that say late, but can you have a 6:30 game? Okay, Ramapo's kicking off at 8. There's a game at 8:40 somewhere. Does that give whether it's a fan or cover, hey, now I got to choose between Ramapo and Wayne Hills and Ridgewood and Eastside. Where am I going to go? Or, hey, I can catch this one's at 6:30, this one's starting at 9, or is that too late? Same thing with Saturday. You could have a 1 o'clock game. You could have a 3:30 game. You could have 5 o'clock. I'm all in on that. I like it. What about you?
All right, I'm all in. I say why not? Like you said, rather have it a little spread out. I don't know what the theory is behind that. And also maybe allow officials to do more than one game, especially good officials who are, a hot commodity. I say why not?
But real quick, guys, again, you're a teacher, and from that point, a 9 o'clock start on a Friday night is anything bad about that?
I don't know. I feel like is a little late on a Friday night, just because the kids have had school all week and here they are waiting around. That's the one thing I don't like, waiting around for a game, especially after a school day. That's a long time for them to kind of wait around for a game. It's not like a weekend where they're home and they're so that one's a little bit different. So Saturdays, I'm all for it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, my last one is one of my fun ones. Are you all in or not all in on daylight savings?
Coach Breslin saying, I think it would work on a Saturday. I think Fridays are much more difficult.
Coach Breslin, once again, we're in total agreement.
You probably called him last night and said this. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Welcome to my world, everyone. Kenny, did you... Are you all
in? Too many hits to the head.
Are you all in or not all in on daylight savings?
You know what? He said, great job, Jenny. Absolutely. You know what? I am all in. I think I like that it's different. People might be like, oh, now it's going to start getting darker earlier. But then when it comes around to when do we do it again? In April? Mm-hmm. Then you're like, you look forward to it. So I do like the change, that not just that it's just the same, Yeah. So I am all in for it. What about you?
I think so too. I feel like, I don't know if it's just more of habit that I'm used to it and I expect it. But I kind of like that too. Like the winter comes, the days are going to be a little, not that the days are shorter technically because they're still 24 hours, but the daylight is shorter. And again, something to look forward to once the spring rolls around. So, because I feel like there's always talk about getting rid of it, abolishing it, but I'm all in on it.
Coach Breslin, there we go. Jenny, I think it is the Broncos issue. Are you all in that they are really bad? All in? No way. Nope, but hey. Coach, we lost a good one in Javonte Williams. PCL, ACL, it's not good, man, for one of the best, if not the best young running back in football. But absolutely, I never disagree with Coach Breslin. I'm disagreeing with him on this. Bad performance Saturdays, particularly on the defense, but overall, we'll be fine. My last one for you is, I'm gonna make this coach. Yes, are you looking for Fangio to come back? Only if Fangio goes in the booth and all he's allowed to do is call defensive plays. Other than that, no. I want no part of Fangio.
I have to say, Surtain gave a huge compliment to Fangio.
Did he? What did he say? I didn't even hear this.
He said, I guess I don't remember what part of the game, but they were, he's such a great defender that he gave huge props to, not just because he went to Alabama, correct?
Yes.
Surtain? And he gave huge props to learning a lot from Fangio. He did.
You mean the best defender in football? Mm-hmm. Anyway,
all right, what's your all in?
My last one is: are you all in? Big game, Broncos. So say Broncos are playing Thursday night, right? I'm gonna be sitting there watching it. Are you all in on getting some Tostitos, getting some chips. Like, I don't want to say pig out, but I'll just put it as big sporting event snacks. Are you all in? So UVA's playing Final Four. Are you all in having your chips and snacks and ready to go?
So I am all in on that. I think that it adds to, on the big games, that it adds to the fun, right? We make our menu. We always say, what's the menu going to be? So I'm all in on that for sure. I think it adds to the viewing pleasure and the whole game atmosphere on big games. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. I do it every Saturday.
Okay.
Well, no.
Yours doesn't even have to be big games.
Coach Breslin is saying all in.
There
so
we go.
I like it.
Very nice.
Kenny's saying all in for audience and Jen. Do you want to see Kurt dress up as a head coach for the Broncos? Because we know the Broncos do not have one. Listen, Kenny's all happy. He's 3-1. I'm going to, we'll see if Kenny's talking at 9:30 in the morning. We'll see if Kenny's talking 1 o'clock when he's got to face Mr. Aaron Rodgers on Saturday. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Are you ready for our standings?
We are ready for the standings, but before we get into this week, let's go over last week because what Mr. Valenti did was quite damn good.
This is so typical. Every week, only when he does well does he want to hear like, the records. Does he want to hear the records of what we did, the prior week? So Kurt had a very good week. I'm just looking for my data here. He went 17-4. I went 13-8. Mr. Beeley went 11-10. Our guest picker was 9-12.
Okay, no. Let's say this one close. Say this one slow.
And Kenny was 7-14, which allowed Kurt to make a big leap this week. So our standings are: Mr. Beelin is still holding strong at the top spot at 81-34. Kurt and I are now tied for second at 79-36. Kenny is in fourth place at 73-42, and our guest picker rounds out the 5 at 67-48. So I've had to listen all week to what a great week Kurt had. Yep.
Thank you, Coach Magazine and Eastside, baby.
And Kenny, apparently he thinks you're the only one he's competing against because all he kept saying is, how many do I have to get on Kenny? How many do I have to get on Kenny? John Beelin, it's like you and I don't even exist. Yeah.
I want to get him out of the way and then put my bullseye on you guys. See, right. Kenny's out of the way.
Yeah. Kenny, don't fall for... You know what? Actually, Kenny, here's a tip. I think I should start to take your picks over the phone, not Kurt. Because you know what? He's able to use your picks and see where he wants to differ from you. So that's a little piece of advice. I think you and I...
Differ from him at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. There's always an angle with Kurt. Always an angle. All right. So we're moving on
Kurt
to
Angle, the wrestler.
We're moving on to this week's games. Our first matchup is 3-2 Wayne Hills at 4-1 Ridgewood. Kenny is picking Ridgewood by a score of 27-14. He said that Ridgewood bounces back this week. Mr. Beelin is also picking Ridgewood. I am picking Ridgewood.
Yeah, you know what? I really wanted to go Wayne Hills here, but to beat Ridgewood twice in a row, especially at home after the Eastside loss, I'm gonna take Ridgewood.
See, Kenny, he's like, I wanted to take Wayne Hills because everybody else took Ridgewood. So he knows who everybody else is. He knows Beelin's picks. He knows your picks. There's always an angle with Kurt. He's over here smiling because he knows it's true.
Well, how did I go 17-4 and none of you guys came close to me last week?
Well, I had 13 correct. I'm just saying.
That's not 17.
Exactly, because you're using, you have an angle. All right, we've got 4-1 Hasbrook Heights at 4-1 Glen Rock. We have Kenny is taking Glen Rock by a score of 35-33, saying offense, and more offense. Mr. Beelin is choosing Hasbrook Heights. I am choosing Hasbrook Heights.
And I know all you guys are going to say you're probably going to pick Glen Rock, right? Just because of my, my history with Heights. But nope, because you know what? Like I said to you 2 weeks, keep letting Heights win. Come on, Heights, win. Because you know why? I have a master plan. Come on, Heights. Keep winning. So I'm going to go Heights.
All right, our next matchup is 4-1 Passaic Valley at 6-0 Wayne Valley. So let's see here. We have Kenny is choosing Wayne Valley one of the few undefeated teams still remaining, by a score of 27-20. He said Wayne Valley will remain undefeated. Mr. Beelan is choosing Wayne Valley.
Wait a minute. If
I'm
Kenny's
choosing-
picking Wayne Valley, of course they're going to remain undefeated. I mean, that's his comment?
He said,
I got to get a Kenny on that comment.
why? What's wrong with that?
Well, if they're undefeated.
He said after this week they will remain
Okay.
undefeated.
Okay. I took it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just after Kenny tonight
I
for some
know.
reason. Go ahead.
Mr.
Beelan.
Beelan chose Wayne Valley. I'm choosing Wayne Valley.
Yep. Listen, this is close, and hopefully PV for our good friend Antonio has a nice showing. But what Wayne Valley did to Wayne Hills a couple weeks ago in that building, I think it's going to be close to this similar. I'm going to go Wayne Valley.
All right, in our next matchup, we have another undefeated team in Waldwick, 5-0 Waldwick, traveling to 4-1 Park Ridge. Kenny's choosing the home team, Park Ridge, by a score of 22-20, saying Park Ridge in a minor upset. Mr. Beelan is choosing Waldwick. I am choosing Waldwick.
You know, Waldwick's in a tough spot, right? Because Waldwick, next week, they're in the NJIC playoffs. And they probably got dealt the toughest opponent they could play this week besides one of the other playoff teams in Park Ridge, right? Because Woodridge beat Park Ridge in a very close game. So I'm going to take Park Ridge. I think this game means more to them. Waldwick looking ahead a little bit, and I just think Park Ridge is better. So I'm going to take Park Ridge to give Waldwick their first loss.
All right, our next game is 3-2 Lyndhurst at 5-0 Woodridge. Kenny is picking Woodridge by a score of 20-12. He's saying that Woodridge beats pesky Lyndhurst late in the fourth quarter with that 20-12 score. So he is picking Woodridge. Mr. Beelan is picking Woodridge. I am picking Woodridge.
Yeah, again, this is another tricky situation, right? 2 weeks ago, Woodridge wins the division by beating Butler. Last week, Saddlebrook forfeits, they don't play. Next week, they're in the NJIC playoff. This is like Lyndhurst's Super Bowl. Lyndhurst has won 3 in a row. I think Lyndhurst and that coaching staff is going to have something up their sleeve to play with them. I think it'll be close. I agree with Kenny. But I think in the end, Waldwick gets the win before they get to the NJIC playoffs next week.
Okay. Our next one is 4-1 Ramsey at 1-4 Mawa. Let me get here to my notes. So Kenny is picking Ramsey by a score of 28-7. He says Ramsey, big. Mr. Beelan is choosing Ramsey as well. I am choosing Ramsey.
Yeah, you know what? We were there last week at the game versus Westwood. We didn't see the best of Ramsey. Still a couple of their bigger time players had to sit out the game, so we have not seen the best of them. But I agree. I think they bounce back big for Coach Bear this week. I think they take they put it on Mawa and get back on track.
All right. In our next matchup, we have 3-2 Eastside traveling to 5-0 Old Tapan. So we have Kenny picking. He's hopping on your Eastside from last week. He's picking Eastside by a score of 30-27. He's saying that October is the Ghosts month, and he's picking an upset here. Mr. Beelan is choosing Old Tapan. I'm going to choose Old Tapan as well.
Oh, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I have something here. I'm still debating in the next 10 seconds if I'm going to switch it. I really want to sing this song again today, but I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to go Old Tapan. Big, close game. Would not be surprised at all, Jen, if Eastside wins it again. But listen, I'm in a title run now. I got to go with Old Tapan. I'm going to go Coach Dunn and Old Tapan.
Okay. Alrighty. Our next one is 2-3 Hackensack at 3-2 Northern Highlands. Kenny has Northern Highlands by a score of 33-14. His comment is that Highlands rolls. Mr. Beelan is choosing Highlands. I am choosing Highlands.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, Coach Cord, real tough schedule this year. This win, the win Friday against Ramapo, is a big one, I think, in their step, and I just think they're going to roll, and I think they'll put up points. Their defense will play. I think it'll be a pretty big win over Hackensack this week. I'm going to go Highlands with you guys.
Our next Friday night matchup is 5-1 PCTI traveling to 3-2 Clifton. Kurt and I will not be making our picks for we will make them live on air, live from Clifton Stadium.
Friday night.
So Kenny is picking PCTI by a score of 33-21. And he's saying that my adopted team, huge win on the road, right? Go bring those adoption papers like you said, Kenny. Mr. Beelan is picking PCTI as well.
All right. And again, we will make our picks. Obviously, tune in Friday to see our picks.
All right. Now our next matchup is 2-3 Riverdale traveling to 4-1 Ramapo. Kenny is choosing Ramapo by a score of 34-13. Angry Poe takes it out on Riverdale is his prediction. Mr. Beelan's choosing Ramapo. Kenny, same thing. I think Ramapo bounces back. I don't know when the last time the Ramapo program had back-to-back losses. If that'd be an interesting stat. But
got to make sure Grusher's okay. He was held out versus Northern Highlands. Hopefully he's back. Another big rivalry. They've had a lot of regular season or playoff games with Riverdale. But I agree with you. I think Ramapo bounces back in a big way at home.
Alrighty, our next matchup pits 1-4 Demarest against 5-0 Westwood. Kenny's picking Westwood by a score of 22-20. He's saying Westwood will escape an upset. Mr. Beelan is choosing Westwood, okay, and I'm going Westwood as well. I was very impressed with them, seeing them, so I'm going to go. I think they remain undefeated.
You know what? Coach Breslin just said this, and I wasn't 100% sure. Dedication of the field to Coach Gibbs on Friday at this game.
Right.
Forget
okay.
About it.
Yep.
Forget about it.
Yep.
These kids will play out of their minds. They're gonna put it on Riverdale for Coach Gibbs.
Right.
Getting back, so
Westwood, we've got Kenny, myself, and Mr. Beelan all choosing Westwood.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take. We saw Westwood live. Mm-hmm. They're good, and somebody told me last week they're really good. And I know Coach Breslin's watching, and I gotta tell you, this Demers team fights week after week, and how many close games they're in every game. You can just tell that's the beginning of a good program. Of that, they're so close. Mm-hmm. I think Westwood will be a little bit too much for them this week, but I'll tell you, Westwood, they have to just make sure they don't have a letdown after this big win because Demers is going to come ready to play.
Right,
I'll take Westwood, but it's going to be, it's going to be close.
All right, our next matchup is 5-0 Hudson Catholic at 1-4 DePaul. Kenny's picking DePaul by a score of 21-14. He is saying SEC DePaul over ACC Hudson Catholic. Okay, Mr. Beelan is choosing Hudson Catholic. I'm choosing DePaul as well.
Yep, I'm with you and Kenny. I mean, again, you can't just look at DePaul's record. They're not that record week in and week out. They're playing top 10 teams in the state. Hudson Catholic right now, yes, they're undefeated, but, what is their marquee win? This would be a marquee win if they do it, but I just think the physicality of DePaul at home, they get back on track and they start making, they start getting ready for a playoff run. So I'm going to take DePaul.
All right. Our next one is 4-2 Montville, traveling to 1-4 Pascack Valley. Kenny's choosing Montville by 2 touchdowns, 27-13. He says Montville hoops improved to 5-2. Thank you, Kenny. Mr. Beelan is choosing Montville. I'm choosing Montville as well.
You know what? I just think everyone looks at this Pascack Valley team and they say they have, 1 win, right? But look at the losses that they have. Look at the teams. In my opinion, the teams, they've had a much tougher road than Montville. So I'm going to take PV again, and I think Pascack Valley gets win number 2 with the win over a nice 4-2 Montville team.
All right. Our next matchup is 4-0 Cliffside Park at 4-0 Pascack Hills.
Beelan saying Kurt's trying to catch up, LOL.
Yep.
I caught up, Beelan.
Well, Beelan, that's the thing. He sees what everybody else chooses, and he picks the games that he's going to go anti.
Beelan saying desperate picks.
Yep, exactly. But he's angling. He is.
Well, what angling? Everybody picked Wayne Valley. Yeah, I didn't pick Passaic Valley. You guys all picked. I didn't pick Riverdale.
You get everybody's
I didn't
picks.
pick Mawa.
You get 2 people's picks, and you use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It's the truth.
17-4 last week. If I did that, then I'm pretty damn good. If I can
Oh my
maneuver
God.
how I
Well-
maneuver.
Well, you had to get down by 9 somehow. Okay, so our next one is
Coach Breslin agreed. Jenny, let him pick first.
exactly right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay,
Breslin.
so when do you want me to
Exactly.
pick? You want me to pick Monday?
I'll
pick next
I
Monday.
want your picks. I won't look at them. I want your picks folded up before
Okay.
you take Kenny
Done.
or Beelan's.
Done.
All right. So, Beelan, you're so good about getting them back so quickly. I'm not going to let him send them to you until he makes his own.
One day, Beelan. Usually I'm getting them on Tuesday night at 7:30.
All right. Our next one is
Because he's not working, that's
I
why.
love though how everybody agrees.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
agrees.
it. Where's
yeah,
this?
Yeah. Please, that's all I need tonight. Get Kurt's picks first, Kenny's saying.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, okay.
Just like he tries to make fantasy trades with everybody.
right.
Kenny tries to bait both you and I. He said,
Yeah.
he said to me, Kenny will appreciate it. He said the other night, why don't you want this guy? Right? I go, well, why haven't you played him? He's been on your bench the whole season. Why are you trying to trade? You had no answer.
Yeah.
No answer.
Yeah. 4 weeks you're crying and you have Brandon Cooks. I would have gave you Dotson. You didn't want him. That's your
cry
problem.
about Cooks. I didn't cry about
Coach
anything.
Breslin saying he should pick live first. Don't let him see your picks.
Exactly. We got to get on this. Everybody's on to you, Kurt Valenti.
Go ahead.
All right. Our next one is 4-0 Cliffside Park at 4-0 Pascack Hills, right? So we have Kenny's choosing Cliffside Park by a score of 27-22. He said Cliffside Park will get a huge road win. Mr. Beelan is choosing Pascack Hills, and so am I.
And so am I. I think, again, Pascack Hills has played better teams than Cliffside Park. Both undefeated, but I think Pascack Hills will remain undefeated in a, I'm going to say like a 2-touchdown win.
Right.
So you went Pascack Hills, just
Yep.
for the record.
Yep. Okay.
So Kenny's going.
is the outlier with Cliffside Park.
Let me just make it official so Kenny
it
don't try
is.
to cheat.
Yeah, okay. All right. Our next matchup is 4-1 Madison at 5-0 Caldwell. Kenny's choosing Caldwell by a score of 35-20. Caldwell making a case for best public school in the state. Mr. Beelan's choosing Caldwell. I think what's Caldwell's consecutive wins up to now? I want to say 19 or 20.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
So I think they're going to continue with that streak.
Yeah,
so
their
I'm going
defense.
Caldwell as
It's
well.
their defense, man. Their defense is one of the best around. I think they shut Madison down. I think they get whatever. If it's 19, they're going on 20. So we sweep the board with Caldwell.
All right, our next.
See, like, there's your theory. Like, I would, if your guy's theory would, I would take Madison.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
No, it isn't. That's not you. Of course, you pick the game where it's like a team. I no, that isn't where you're not going to do it in every game, but you're going to find certain ones where you think there's a chance where it's a little closer, and you're going to do it. All right, 3-2 West Essex traveling to 6-0 West Morris. It's interesting to see the undefeated teams that are still undefeated. You know, and then after each week, who will remain undefeated from there. Mr. Kirkpatrick has a 1-touchdown win for West Morris, 21-14. He says that West Morris is just too tough for West Essex. Mr. Beelan is choosing West Morris. I hate going against my own, but like you said it perfectly before, I'm in a race
You're in
here.
a competition.
Yeah, I'm in a competition.
Beelan saying, "Get him, hoops."
So I got to pick with my head, not my heart. And
Yeah,
I just think
don't-
West Morris is just too tough.
Don't pick with your heart this week because West Morris is going to go to 7-0. They shut down the wing T, and I'm going to take West Morris. I think they're just going to outscore them. So I will go West Morris with you guys.
All right, our next matchup is a 3-2 Sea Caucus traveling to 2-3 Becton. Kenny's picking Becton by a score of 21-14. He says Becton is starting to roll. They'll get to 500. Mr. Beelan is choosing Becton. And I'm going with Becton this week as well.
Yep, me too. But I think these teams are going in different directions. Sea Caucus has lost the last two. Becton has won their last two. And I think it's going to go 3-3 because I think Becton does start getting rolling. And, now to get a nice little, a little easier schedule for them. And I'm going to take our Becton boys to get another victory.
All right, that wraps up our Friday games. Now we have the remaining games are our Saturday slots. We have 4-1 North Arlington traveling to 5-0 Rutherford. Kenny's picking Rutherford by a score of 35-14. He says that the Bulldogs are going to be very hard to beat this year. Mr. Beelan's picking Rutherford. I am picking Rutherford.
Yeah, so both teams have really good quarterbacks. I just think the only difference is Rutherford's going to probably be better at every other position on the field. So I think Rutherford at home, again, Rutherford's looking for this NJIC title. You know, they can't look ahead to next week's semifinals because, again, North Arlington is a lot better. But at home, I think Rutherford remains undefeated.
Okay. Our next matchup is 1-4 Paramus Catholic at 4-1 Seton Hall Prep. Kenny is picking Seton Hall Prep by a score of 34-21, saying it'll be close in the first half, but Seton Hall will roll late. Mr. Beelan is picking Seton Hall Prep. Here we get into these non-publics, right? Just the strength at the, where they are at the top of the state. Seton Hall Prep was so impressive last week at Red Bank. I feel like I'm picking Seton Hall Prep as well.
Yep, I'm going the same way with you. Just Paramus Catholic doesn't have it yet. Again, they'll play a little early. First quarter will be close. Maybe you score first, but overall, Seton Hall Prep, one of the best teams in the state, and I think they'll wear down PC late in the game.
All right, our next matchup is a 2-2 Wallington team traveling to an undefeated Elmwood Park at 3-0. Kenny is picking Elmwood Park by a score of 14-12. He's saying that Elmwood Park will stay unbeaten. Mr. Beelan is choosing Elmwood Park. I'm choosing Elmwood Park.
Yep, Coach Mulligan doing a great job this year over there. Those kids are learning how to win. 3-0, I think he goes to 4-0, and they beat Wallington. And let's go. Go EP.
All right, we have a 4-1 Pope John team matching up against a 2-3 Del Barton team. Kenny's picking Del Barton by a score of 28-20.
You got to give me 1 second.
I'm going to go through the whole thing here. So he's saying, again, this is another case of SEC versus ACC. Mr. Beelan is agreeing with the Del Barton pick, right? And picking Del Barton. Kenny, I think, said it perfectly. I think Del Barton's their record is not indicative of the talent that they have. I'm picking Del Barton as well.
Again, it's Del Barton's schedule. I mean, every week it's like Kenny's saying, like an SEC team, and they get their win. Now they're going to keep coming back. I think they're better than Pope John, and I think this is 2 in a row, and this is a little run for Del Barton. So I'm going to go Del Barton over Pope John with you guys.
All right, we have our last game is 0-5 Saddlebrook at 0-5 St. Mary. Kenny is picking St. Mary by a score of 14-2. He was saying that St. Mary will get a much-needed win. Mr. Beelan is also picking St. Mary. I'm going to pick St. Mary's also. I think that one of these teams is going to get their first win. I hate saying the 0-5s because those kids, not that those kids aren't working hard and those coaches, so somebody's going to get their first win, and I'm picking that it's going to be St. Mary's.
Kenny's saying, man, I thought someone would pick against Del Barton. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm taking my gals. Beelan saying, Kirk, can you believe it? Finally, St. Mary's. So, yeah, I'm with them. St. Mary's is going to get the win. Coach Johnson over there. Again, those kids are working. They're playing a lot of tough teams early. Saddlebrook had a great year last year, down a little bit. I'm going to take the Gales at home to get their first win of the season.
All right, great.
So, that is that. Again, remember, Jen, Friday night we will be live 7 o'clock. No, I'm sorry, 6 o'clock. 6 to 7. We have to remember to bring our nice all-in skirt this week.
Yep.
With our cards.
Yep, and our little lanyards
to give away.
Every week we
build. I was talking to Coach Breslin. So again, we will be live at Clifton Friday night, 6 o'clock. We can't wait to do our pre-week interviews with Coach Demers, Coach Sinkyu, PCT in Clifton. Every week we add something there. So.
All right. Well, thank you to our guests this evening, Coach Cord and Coach Magazine. And thank you everyone for watching.
See you guys. Oh, one more thing. Friday night we also are going to debut
our recap.
Our recap show about 10 o'clock, something 9:30, 10 o'clock. So
After most of the action.
Yeah, most of the action. So we will be recapping. We will be doing our show. See everybody else Friday night.